Episode 125 of Dragon Ball Super is way more interesting than I anticipated. I'll be honest, I was expecting this episode to be kinda something I just watch while looking forward to Goku and Vegeta's battle against Jiren instead, but it turned out to be one of the more interesting episodes by far. The title? With imposing presence, God of Destruction Toppo descends. At first I thought they were describing Toppo as a god of destruction or like a god of destruction just because he has so much more power this time in whatever happens. But as it turns out, being like a god of destruction for Toppo will be quite literal later on. First, the episode starts with Goku and Vegeta doing kinda okay against Jiren. So there's this one tactic wherein Goku holds Jiren back while Vegeta uses Final Flash to hit him. But Jiren opposes the attack with his glare again. So this time this is really proof that it's his glare that's doing stuff. Because whenever he uses something like this, it was to do things like hammering Goku, so we thought that they were just using his eyes and some sort of animation technique to kinda portray how fast his arms are and that he's actually just really fast punching Goku and the others. This time we can really tell that it's his glare that was the source of his power because Goku was holding his arms back. And like the badass he is, Jiren kicks Goku towards Vegeta, and they kinda reset their battle. At this point, I think a fusion between the two would make a more powerful opponent against Jiren. When you think about it, Vegeta and Goku are doing okay right now, even if Jiren doesn't seem to be breaking a sweat. We have to remember that he's been powered up since a few episodes back, though not necessarily at his maximum. I'm inclined to believe that Ultra Instinct Goku is still more powerful than Vegeta's new form. For one thing, it takes both Vegeta's new form and Goku in what I'm assuming is Kaioken times 20 to match Jiren right now, when Ultra Instinct Goku was able to match him blow for blow alone before. Although again, Jiren is powered up right now, but during his fight with Ultra Instinct, we can even say that he never once hit Goku. Goku was able to land a couple of blows against Jiren, but the only reason that Jiren was able to stop him at the end was that he lost his power-up. Again, I'm not saying that if Goku goes Ultra Instinct right now, he will hands down wipe Jiren with the floor, but I am saying that he seems more powerful than Vegeta in his new form. This being said, I think a fusion between the two will definitely be more powerful than Jiren. Now let's take things into consideration, especially with Gotenks. Gotenks knows how to use Super Saiyan 3, while Trunks and Goten both can only go up to the normal Super Saiyan state. So if Goku alone can reach Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta can reach whatever state he is in right now, we could assume that a fusion between the two would reach a more powerful level. However, for argument's sake, let's say that the fusion would be able to reach at least what Vegeta has right now, but that will still be more than enough to surpass Jiren. The Supreme Kai of Universe 7 can give them his set of Potaras, or let's say they're not allowed to use new items. Goku and Vegeta can still perform the fusion dance because seeing Jiren's pride, I'm pretty sure he's going to allow them to do so. Last week was all about Gohan being able to eliminate Dispo, and Beerus gives him props for that. He goes from calling him Goku's son to Gohan, and Gohan, being as respectful as ever, bows to Beerus. This is one of those scenes that you need not have, but the viewers were definitely happy to see such gestures. So we go to the battle between Toppo and Android 17. Android 17 shoots random ki blasts at Toppo, holding him back because the idea is that these androids have infinite energy. Therefore, he can just keep shooting and holding Toppo back until the end so that they can use their 4 vs 2 advantage to have the numbers to win the tournament instead of taking out Jiren. Toppo manages to escape, however, and has an epic beam struggle with number 17, who seems like he's going to go out of the stage until Frieza comes to his aid by shooting death beams at Toppo's back. Eventually they overwhelm Toppo, and people think that maybe Toppo's gone, dead in fact, but he never shows up in the bench. And neither is Frieza disqualified. We see that Toppo emerges, not eliminated, however harmed and his Pride Trooper uniform destroyed. This is where things start getting interesting. Topo says that he decides he is letting go of justice. Now it's not certain if he's saying that he's letting go of justice permanently or just now because they have to survive. But Jiren also tells him, "So you've made up your mind." So we've been thinking that this is something Topo has been struggling with because as we know he is a candidate for Universe 11's God of Destruction. Destruction and justice kinda don't go hand in hand unless you're thinking of doing it the same way that the 4 universes with the highest mortal rating do it, wherein they only destroy the factors that really need to be destroyed, really think about it, and it's not some sort of bloodlust like you'd think Beerus has or something. So Topo has a huge power-up. There are these weird markings that come out of his chest, and he suddenly has this God of Destruction aura, as pointed out by Beerus. Now, as I said, Topo is a candidate for the Universe 11 God of Destruction position. Therefore, he's been doing training with Margarita, the angel of Universe 11. So apparently being a God of Destruction is more than just being powerful with your own energy or using the Hakai technique or the Destroy technique. There is a specific key, a specific energy to being a God of Destruction, and this is what powers that technique. And this is kind of the destructive purple aura that envelops Beerus and what we'd assume is the rest of the Gods of Destruction. So they start firing ki blasts at Topo, but then they just kinda get destroyed around his aura, and this is how Beerus knew that it was destruction power. So if anything that touches Topo gets destroyed, and one of the Universe 11 fighters lands a punch, for instance, or a kick, a physical attack, and they get destroyed, I doubt this would disqualify Topo because it could be considered self-destruction, like when the Grand Priest declared that Goku's apparent death by the hands of his own Genki Dama, that Jiren simply pushed back at him. So Frieza, cocky as ever, declares that Gods of Destruction are meaningless against him. I think what he means to point out is that before, when an assassin of Sidra used Sidra's own energy of destruction against Frieza, Frieza was able to stop that attack. Although that being said, not all Gods of Destruction have energy equal to each other. Others are more powerful, and others are weaker. We take into account how Golden Frieza is probably not at all more powerful than when he fought Goku when he was first brought back to the Earth, yet that same Frieza was still afraid of Lord Beerus. So Topo uses the Hakai technique on Frieza, and it takes the form of an energy ball. Now, this was something that was bothering me. Just because Topo wasn't thinking that if that successfully destroyed Frieza, he would be eliminated, and thus go against his purpose of helping Universe 11 survive. Frieza couldn't handle it, however, which tells us that Topo was probably even more powerful than Sidra. Of course, it could just be the fact that the assassin that Sidra sent wasn't really a God of Destruction and did not know how to use properly the power that was given him. So Topo's attack defeated Frieza. It rendered him back into his final form, though white form, of course, while not destroying him, but it did destroy the fighting stage. It just left like bits and chunks of the fighting stage, and this was gonna be a problem for the rest of the fighters. The sky turned purple instead of green, and the most surprising thing is that Frieza wasn't destroyed even though he took the full impact of a Hakai technique. Number 17 even pointed out that Topo's normal ki was even more powerful now that he had powered up, because Topo's Justice Flash, which couldn't penetrate 17's barrier before, had no problem shattering it right away this time. This mention also by 17 of Topo having normal ki once again proves that the key of destruction exists as a separate entity from the normal key that any fighter would use should he become a God of Destruction later on. So, Beerus, even before having his destructive powers, could have had his own powerful key, his own powerful energy, that he mastered along with the energy of destruction, making him one of the more formidable Gods of Destruction. What I couldn't understand is that one of the Hakai techniques of Topo was aimed at the bleachers, and Beerus simply told them to calm down. I thought Beerus was gonna do something cool, like dismantle it or something, but then the Hakai energy ball kinda just went up and went away from them. And then Beer said the explanation was that Topo, after all, had to recharge his destruction energy before launching another Hakai technique, though I did not see how this made sense given what we saw. So Frieza's in his planet Namek final form, and does the energy ball, the planet-destroying attack, and throws it right at Topo. In retaliation, Topo uses a speck of destructive energy and flicks it right at Frieza's energy ball, just like Beerus would do, and this was enough to dismantle it. Topo states that he would have killed Frieza if he wasn't going to be disqualified. So again, this begs the question of whether Topo saying that he gave up on justice was just to save Universe 11 at that time, or if Topo had been sort of corrupted because of Frieza's arrogance permanently. I kinda hope that's not the case because I like how Topo is a warrior of justice. The whole goody two-shoes thing he's always pulling even though he labels Goku as evil. Even though he has this moment with Frieza, he tells 17 that he is beyond justice and evil just for now, with the reason being that he has to focus on Universe 11's survival, which to me is actually still a pretty noble cause. So Topo tries throwing Frieza off the fighting stage, but 17 saves him by throwing a rock at him. The episode ends with 17 going on a beam struggle against another Hakai energy ball by Topo. I said at the beginning that this was one of the more interesting episodes lately. I have a lot of thoughts about this episode because of this episode. First of all, remember Moscow, the Universe 3 God of Destruction. I no wonder if he has his own energy of destruction, because as we realized when they were about to be erased, Moscow is actually just a little being piloting a suit of armor. Does he have destruction energy that he integrates into the suit of armor, or was whoever created the suit of armor, which I'm guessing could be Pepperoni, given the energy of destruction so that he could integrate it into the said suit of armor, and Universe 3 can have their own God of Destruction? After all, we know that Hakai energy can be given to someone like Sidra did to his minion. Another thought is that can Goku and Vegeta tap into the energy of destruction if they wanted to or if they trained for it? Let's not forget that Whis was offering Goku to be the God of Destruction for Universe 7 should something happen to Beerus. That would mean that Goku would be undergoing the same training with Whis as Topo is undergoing with Margarita, and thus be training for usage of the energy of destruction. Of course, we have Frieza being able to kinda control or manipulate Sidra's energy of destruction before, so Frieza could be another candidate for God of Destruction, and we know that he already has a taste of handling the power. However, Frieza would be a reckless god and would render Universe 7 with an even lower mortal rating, I'm sure. Even more so, now I'm beginning to think that Beerus really still is more powerful than Jiren. Now think about it. If Jiren's normal ki and fighting ability is a bit over that of the level of Beerus's, then Beerus would not be far off from Jiren. However, he would have the energy of destruction as an advantage over Jiren. Of course, Jiren could also learn to tap into that said power, but we are comparing Beerus and Jiren as of now. I think this battle royale would have been more interesting if everyone brought out their best from the beginning. Topo's destruction powers, Dispo's super maximum light speed mode, Universe 3's Oniraza, Universe 6's Kefla, and maybe Goku and Vegeta's new forms had they come into the battle with those already at hand. If that were to happen, Universe 2, 4, 9, and 10 would have been easily eliminated within the first minute or 2 minutes of this tournament. Of course, the reason that this hasn't happened, aside from developing the plot from the writer's point of view, is that these characters were trying to be smart about using their energy. It's the same way that Goku and Vegeta did not go Super Saiyan Blue right away because they wanted to wait for the last few minutes before spending their energy. Out of topic of this episode, speaking of the Kefla fusion, I know a way that the Potara could have been used to eliminate Jiren. Someone from Universe 7, let's say Krillin or Piccolo for instance, in some way could have maybe tricked Jiren into fusing with him and then jumped off the fighting stage. Of course, that's assuming that that person would have had a more powerful effect on the new fusion towards Universe 7 than Jiren would. If not, that could actually go against them and they'd have a slightly more powerful Jiren fused character against Universe 7, and that is the last thing they need. It's just a little thought though. So what do you think of all these wild occurrences that are happening in Dragon Ball Super right now? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. As usual, if you like this video, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more great videos.